one thing that I really loved about INTUG was it was the best professional development as a user group CEO that I ever got, because I was talking with very senior people who were solving the problems I was trying to solve, either from my perspective, but through INTUG, I was speaking with policymakers and regulators and other industry and consumer associations from other countries.
And I discovered that a number of large organizations like Shell and Reuters had formed this organization that was lobbying for the communication services to be opened up.
Fascinating thinking about this because, you know, the history of INTUG is really the history of the telecommunications and now we would say communications and IT industry.
Telecommunications is by definition cross-border. And so because INTUG was very, very active, we could really be in panels in Europe, but also in other parts of the world. We were invited from Hong Kong, Dubai, well, South Africa. I cannot recall all the countries.
And in the Asia Pacific area, there was a really great group of economies under the APEC banner that were meeting in a telecommunications working group. So I just worked my way through the system to figure out how to have INTUG recognised as a guest of that group.
And it was very important to work together with people not only from other European countries, but also from other continents, because it was a struggle which was worldwide the same. But it is so interesting to hear when you have a meeting with people from New Zealand or Mexico or whatever, to see that the same topics on the level of telecommunications, it's also about 5G, it's also about hybrid work, it's also about now the upcoming satellite communication. These are really worldwide elements, and it's very interesting to have discussions and to see what is happening in the different other parts of the world.
And the big issues for INTUG at that stage were all about mobile. So the headline issue all the way through my time there was mobile roaming, international roaming. And we used to get we used to compete with each other for the worst horror story about how much people under surprise subscribers had come back home from their holiday or their business trip with, and the international roaming bill that they'd found waiting.
Because I found that the issues were really pertinent to what I was doing. It was an incredibly efficient way of getting really valuable knowledge that I then used in my advocacy work in Australia.
It is good to see that, well, as I said before, so we used to work a lot on telecommunications. Our scope was more and more widened on all digital elements for companies. But now we see with 5G and the importance of fiber, with everything connected and so on, and the need for service level agreements at the mobile services as well, the telecommunications becomes very relevant again.
I reflect back on the fact that when I started at Reuters, the links between our customers and our computers operated at 1,200 bits per second, 1,200, and a 1,200 baud line, the leased line, was so difficult to get that we had to wait 13 months before we could connect a customer who wanted our services. So, you know, we now take gigabit connections for granted.
The rollout of broadband became increasingly important. I mean, in 1999, 2000, nobody really knew what broadband was. I mean, it's hard to reflect back on that now, but it's true. And so the way in which each economy would approach getting fibre was a subject of a lot of discussion, and of course every country is different.
So we could not foresee that the digital would become so important. We saw, okay, telecommunications and connectivity, but we could not foresee that now every business, small, large, every public institution, every university, hospital, there is not just business strategy, it's business strategy, enabled by digital technology. And so we see now that what we do, the work we do, is much more of importance for businesses, because now everybody sees how important it is to have a good digital environment.